So here we are. This is what the move is making this morning. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm noticing that we're seeing a bit of consolidation and weakness as we're coming into this low. I'm going to go ahead and draw some trend lines that capture the highs and lows of this pattern. Notice right here that we're seeing that it already is a wedge pattern where the two lines are converging, and it's looking to already be a reversal in this sense. But how can we confirm this wedge pattern? Well, that will be with this divergence that we're seeing right here. We're seeing the RSI is going to go ahead and actually break above here. Now, typically where I like to set my entry on this is I'll pull out the fib extension tool. I'm sorry, the fib retracement tool. Let's call it this one right here. And then draw from the recent high to low. And where my entry is for the upside move is going to occur at the 0.707 level. Now, where I'm going to go ahead and set a price target, if I'm playing a wedge pattern specifically, typically I like to be a bit conservative with my price targets. I don't like setting them too high, but rather I'll start it at where the wedge pattern began. And notice the wedge pattern saw its first high at this point. So this right here would be my price target. So if I were to go ahead and mark all of this out, I can have my price target. And that's going to be about at around 377. Now, where's my entry point? My entry point is at the 0.707 level of retracement. You can also, if you don't like using the fib retracement levels, you can always just use the most recent touch as your entry point and wait for a break above that level. But I'm going to use the 0.707 level, and that's going to be at 373.50, I believe, if I saw that correctly. Yep, 373.50, and that's going to be entry. Actually, let's put that the other way around. We'll put entry, and that's going to be at 373.50. And typically, where I'll set a stop loss for this pattern is at the low of where the pattern is. So I'll mark that down here. That's going to be around 372.5. Give it a little bit of a buffer. So then stop loss will be 372.50, and that will be my stop loss for this specific position. So now, if I go ahead and play this out, we can identify where we'll see actually each of the different entry points, take profit, and stop loss. And if I were to even go ahead and measure out the risk to reward on this play, I can mark out where the entry point is, adjust the stop loss using my points, and notice that the risk to reward on this play is actually spectacular. It's at 3.44, which means that for every dollar that I'm risking, I'm standing to gain $3.55. So let's go ahead and watch as this plays out. Notice we're still hovering below. We have not gotten that candlestick close above the 373.5 level. And right there on this candlestick right here is actually where we get that. Oh, I'm sorry. On this green candlestick right here is where we get that candlestick close. I would go ahead and enter on the next candlestick. So entering on this red candlestick right here, and then I'll use my stop loss at the 372.5 level, still in the position. And my take profit is at this 377 level. And notice right there, we get a nice little clean move upward. If you'd like to just get in and out of the position, you can capitalize on this move right here. But if you're scalping and day trading over the course of the entire day, you might want to use the larger price targets. And notice that we are making our way up, stopping at various levels of support and resistance on the way. And you can always re-enter and exit these positions. But yeah, price target will eventually hit there. But another way that you guys can identify price targets instead of just using the pattern high and you want to just play this clean move right here, you can just go ahead and enter when you get that confirmation to go ahead and enter, when you get that break above the 0.707, and then ride that up until you see the overbought condition on the RSI. So you can even use the RSI as an exit point as well. Notice that this overbought condition corresponds with the recent high. You can even take profit there, wait for a re-entry on, say, something like the trend line that actually occurred, where notice what we see, if I mark out the lows, we get another entry, still was able to hold above that level of 50, and then taking profit once again at, let me go ahead and pull that up. I didn't mean to remove that from my screen. Taking profit once again when we see that overbought condition on the RSI.